Happy Saturday, everyone. Happy Saturday. This is another Saturday double show, double edition of Sucker Punch. Don't forget that hour one is right here on Ringside Reporter Live with my brother from another up in Boston, Mr. Joe Habib. And hour number two is on my channel. So we're going to be talking about a fight taking place this weekend. In fact, it's taking place tonight. In fact, it's taking place here in New York City, where I live. It's actually taking place in Brooklyn at the Barclays Center, home of the not the New York Nets, the Brooklyn Nets, and formerly also the home of the Long Island Islanders, New York Islanders, and longtime home of PBC boxing on Showtime. Well, this isn't a fight on Showtime. It's a fight on Amazon, and maybe we're going to talk a little bit about the future of Amazon, the future of Tank Davis, the future of the PBC. But the real question that Joe and yours truly, me, have for you is, number one, are you excited? Number two, are you buying the pay-per-view? And I threw in another one, Joe. I'd like people to rate this fight. Give it a star, right? Let's pretend this is, IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes. How are you rating this particular fight? Because I would consider a 5-star fight, Joe, to be what we saw last week, right? I would consider a 5-star fight to be Arthur Betterby defending his undisputed light heavyweight championship of the world against Dimitri Bivol. That's a 5-star fight, right? I would argue that Usyk Fury 2 was a 5-star fight. How many stars you going to give Lamont Roach attempting to move up in weight and dethrone the WBA no longer regular champ, I guess the full champ, at the lightweight level? How many stars you giving this? So number one, Joe, I'm going to just throw it right to you. Answer those 3 questions. Number one, are you excited? Number two, are you buying the pay-per-view? And number 3, could you kindly rate this fight using a very typical 5-star format? I could have gone thumbs up, right? You know the old Siskel and Ebert from back in the day? I used to like their movie reviews, the 2 thumbs up, the 1 thumb up, the 2 thumbs down. But I like the 5-star format. Go for it, Joe.
Well, I'm going to say that I'm going to compare my excitement level about this fight to the time when I got my last colonoscopy. That's how bad this fight is, in my opinion. For the first time in the history of ranking fights using the star system, the first time ever, this fight gets a 0 star. It's so bad to me,
Wow, 0
right?
star.
And the reason why is because we've been fed a steady diet, right, of fights from Gervonta Davis. And this man, mind you, is number 8 on the ring pound for pound list. And again, I'm not a pound for pound guy, but when you talk about greatest fighters in the sport, and again, you could look at him, talented guy, but it just boggles the mind that fight after fight after fight, he's in there with someone who has little to no chance of beating him. The odds are always in double digits with this guy when it comes to opponents. He's a minus 1,600, meaning you have to put $1,600 on him just to win $100. So you put $1,600 on him only to get $1,700 back. This fight is so bad, I can't even do a beating the odds with Beeb this week, which I wanted to do. But I will do this. If you want to get a little risky here, this is something I do love on DraftKings. They have what's called the exact winning method, meaning it has to be a unanimous decision, meaning all 3 judges have to score for a fighter, or you can pick split decision, whatever, but you can pick outcome in terms of the knockout, right? So you could pick a KO or a TKO, which is hard because it's not just like picking stoppage, meaning the fight could end via disqualification, KO or TKO. That's a little bit different because if you do that, you're not going to get the same odds. So if you were to just do that, you would have to put up 400 to win 100, meaning total $500. So that's a minus 400 if you want to just put Gervonta Davis by KO, TKO, or DQ. But if you do the exact winning method here, Gervonta Davis to win by KO, meaning it can't be a TKO, has to be a count out, right? That's a plus 165. Gervonta Davis to win by TKO is a minus 135. I actually like the TKO bet here at a minus 135, meaning you put up $135 and you get the 100 back, so that's 235. So that's not bad. I would say the TKO because I do think that Lamont Roach is a game guy. He's in shape. I think the fight probably would be waved off more so than him actually being counted out in this fight. So I do like that one if you do want to bet. But it's even hard to bet on this fight because you just don't – you know that Gervonta Davis is going to win this fight. And I hate saying that. I don't want to be disrespectful to Lamont Roach, but I just can't see a path to victory here. He's not a big puncher. I don't think he's big or strong enough to keep Gervonta Davis off him if Gervonta Davis decides he wants to step to him in spots. Gervonta Davis is just such a skilled counterpuncher, great timing. And I just think this is a calculated risk for the Davis team. And they're all about making money. And you want to talk about being the face of boxing. I know that Gervonta Davis does do well at the live gate, but these pay-per-view numbers, I haven't heard one person that I've spoken to, and this obviously is anecdotal.
$80 pay-per-view, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm talking to hardcores that normally would buy everything. And if these guys are telling me that they're not buying this, right, then that's a problem. Because if the hardcores aren't buying it, the crossover people aren't buying it, the casuals.
I agree. First of all, hit the like button. Secondly, hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. And lastly, definitely drop a comment about what Joe just said, because we actually got a very quick edition there of Beating the Odds with Beeb.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, guys. Where else are you getting this? You're getting the analysis, you're getting the fight reviews, and you're getting the Beating the Odds with Beeb. Hit the damn like button.
And you know what? I know you guys can turn to me and say, Beeb, look what happened last week. You got all those picks wrong. But this is cyclical, remember. We're due for an upswing. It's like the stock market doesn't stay down forever. Sometimes there's a sell-off. And then when the stocks are cheap, everyone jumps in and buys. I'm due for some wins here, baby. I'm due for an upswing. Don't jump off the Beeb train just yet. Stay on the Beeb train.
I couldn't agree more with that statement. I just want to go through some of the comments. Clarissa Turcio says, I feel bad for anyone willing to pay $80 for this fight, especially after a stacked card by Turkey for 20-something bucks. That's kind of the point right there, right? I mean, through this Riyadh season card last week, we got to see undisputed fights. We got to see meaningful fights. Now, obviously, there were a couple fighters that had to withdraw. Daniel Dubois was very ill, very sick, couldn't obviously defend his IBF title against Joseph Parker, who took on Martin Bacoli. Kid Schofield, apparently very sick, very ill, couldn't, follow through on his title shot with Shakur Stevenson, but we saw Buatsi versus Callum Smith, which to me on paper is a way better fight than this fight. And that was an undercard on that fight. We saw Zhang versus Caballero. Again, better fight than this fight, and that was the undercard fight, right? I could just go through the whole card. I mean, and of course the main event was the undisputed title fight between the two great Russian champions for all of the marbles at 175 pounds. That was the main event, and the pay-per-view cost essentially about less than a third of what this pay-per-view is costing. Very difficult to justify that. So, Clarissa, I agree with you 100%. Alexander Wilson's answering our questions. Is he excited? Is he buying the fight? Absolutely not. Jeffrey says he has IPTV, which is internet television, so to speak. So he's taking advantage of broadcasters in other countries where you don't have to necessarily pay the full U.S. price. Alexander Wilson is rating this a minus 5-star fight. Minus 5 stars.
Lower than my ranking. I gave it a 0. He's in the negatives.
He's in the negative.
Oh my
Iceman's giving it a 2. Iceman, I don't know how you can give this a 2 when it's an $80 pay-per-view, but that's on you. I see why, because you like the Rayo versus Russell fight. Again, the Rayo versus Russell fight, let me ask you this, Joe. Is that a better fight than Zhang versus Caballo?
No.
Is that a better fight than Buatsi versus Callum Smith?
No.
I mean,
still a good fight, though. I'm not going to say it's a bad fight.
On paper, is that a better fight than Schofield versus Shakur?
Yes.
Is it a better fight than, on paper, Dubois versus Parker?
No.
Okay.
No.
So, again, we got that one for basically a third of what these ones are costing. But it is what it is. Jeffrey says he rates it 3 because the undercard has some interesting fights. And also, I'm guessing, because you're not paying for it. Again, if this was on regular Amazon, I would get it. But it's not on regular Amazon. So there you have it. So I go for it, Joe. And then I want to talk. Go for it, and then I'll get into what I want to talk to. Go.
And the problem is the timing of it all, Maestro. We've been spoiled week after week by His Excellency, Alhamdulillah, Ashallah, and this is what's been going on, man. And then we get thrown with this. It's like, you're getting prime rib dinners for a month, and then all of a sudden someone gives you a corned beef hash sandwich. That's a shock to your system. You can't absorb that. You can't accept that.
I will say this, and what I will say, even though I'm not going to the card this weekend, and I'll tell you why. The process with going to these cards with the PBC is much more convoluted than it is with Top Rank and Matchroom, which my channel has a great relationship with. I'll just leave it at that. Number one. Number two, PBC never puts us on the floor to cover the fights, right? They usually have 2 staging areas. So one is a riser kind of behind the floor seats, and the second is up in the media box, and I usually end up in the media box. It is what it is. I mean, whatever. But when you're up in that media box, Joe, it's not really possible to actually watch the fight because it's in the ring, which is obviously very small visually from where you're sitting. So you ended up just watching it on the monitor above the ring, at which point, why don't I just watch it at home in the comfort of my home, right? Which is why that's what I will be doing. Now, there's another thing that I'd like to mention about this particular fight. For whatever reason, Tank Davis, when he pulls these guys up from the lower weight divisions, right? Let's not forget, he's not fighting Teofimo Lopez. He's not fighting Devin Haney. He's not fighting Shakur Stevenson. He's not fighting Loma. He's not fighting anyone who's been in and around 135 pounds, right? He's fighting yet another guy that he's pulling up from a lower weight class, right? Which he did to Santa Cruz, which he did to Yuriorkis Gamboa, which he did to Hector Luis Garcia, right? He's doing it again. But for whatever reason, he gets mainstream play, Joe. And here's an example of it right here. Let's have a look. Let's have a listen. And let's go, because there's some mainstream play that he gets for all of these fights for whatever reason. I'd like you to look at this and then comment. Here we go.
Tank Davis, as you just heard, taking on WBA super featherweight world champion Lamont Roach Jr. in a lightweight title clash this Saturday, March 1st from Barclays Center in Brooklyn. The event will be featured on PBC pay-per-view on Prime Video. Tank is here just ahead of the huge fight. Stephen A., take it away.
Thank you, Molly. The one and only Tank Davis with me right now, one of the best fighters on the planet Earth. Tank, good to see you. Why this fight, Lamont Roach? What has he done to deserve to be in the ring against you?
He's a world champion himself. He's coming up and wait to dare to be great. So we fought before, so it's history. It's history in that. there's two guys that's trying to be great.
A lot of people said they talked about y'all background with one another, how familiar you guys are with one another. Talk about that for a second. How well do you know him on a personal level in terms of your associations through the ranks, you know, in terms of your boxing career?
I don't know that, like, personally,
Right.
like, you know, but through the boxing, you know, we came up together and things like that. We had similar friends and things like that in the boxing world. We fought before, you know, so I'm familiar with his fighting style and things like that. Well, it's been years since I fought him, so I don't know, but it's cool to have someone from that area, and then I'm from Baltimore, Maryland, so it's cool to get us both in the ring and share the ring together on a pro level.
Now, he's not one of those guys that's going to be foolish enough to talk about how he shook you during some sparring session or something like that, like Frank Martin tried to do and really ticked you off. I was talking about it on the show. I don't know if you saw me, Tank, back before the Frank Martin fight last June. I said, you looked at me during a press conference, and you looked at him and you said, you really, really should have waited. You took this fight too early. You really should have waited. That's what you told him before the fight, and then you went and put him to sleep. This cat right here, Lamont Roach, he ain't saying something like that about you, is he? He's not doing that, is he?
No, but Lamont had more experience than Roach. I mean, I'm bugging. Lamont had more skills than Frank Martin, for sure.
Okay, I got you. So as you sit here right now, you're 30-0, 28.
Thoughts so far, Joe. Number one, he's got a terrible audio connection. Number two, he's in a car. The guy who's with him is like filming it. I don't know if you saw that, but he's got like a camera filming the thing. You know, and ESPN, who, by the way, isn't at all responsible for putting on this fight, is essentially platforming this. I didn't see them doing this for Bivol versus Beterbiev.
Nah. And the thing is this.
Go for
it. Stephen A. Smith, no disrespect, this is like supposed to be, quote unquote, for the culture. So that's why, he's putting on, in my opinion, Gervonta Davis. This is a fight for the culture. And, Stephen A. going over the top here, trying to muster up some type of excitement for this fight when he knows damn well that this fight has a predictable outcome. He knows damn well that Lamont Roach stands little to no chance here. He knows damn well that this is not a fight of excitement that he is trying to portray in his voice. It's very performative in him trying to hype this fight up. It's unhypeable. You can't hype this fight up. There's no storyline. They're both friends, but their trainers know each other. There's no bad blood. The skill gap, I don't care what you say, with all due respect, I just think is too wide here. You can't be a minus 1,600 and try to tell us that Lamont Roach is on your level. If he was, the odds would not be that wide. So Stephen A. is trying to muster up excitement for this fight, but it's just falling flat on, at least in my vantage point. It falls flat to me. The fake excitement, the performative antics of Stephen A. trying to sell this as a big fight, and he ain't saying what Frank Martin said. So does any of that matter at the end of the day? When it all depends on what you're going up against, skill versus skill. So people can talk trash all they want, but whatever the outcome was going to be, Frank Martin was never going to finish that fight, regardless of what he did at the press conference. So again, stop trying to add something extra to something that really can't be hyped up. It's just, these are not good fights, Stephen A. No matter what you try to do to try to make these good fights, they're not good fights. I'm sorry. They're not good fights.
I love it when the she-males come out of their lair, right? The she-males. And I'm talking specifically about the best dad ever. So since y'all crying like females, this fight should not do 100K. Yeah, I don't think it's going to do 100K. I'm not crying like a female. I'm telling you straight up what I think about this fight. This is a shit fight. And this is a shit fight, especially once you factor in that it is a $80 pay-per-view. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Consider joining Joe's channel and supporting the channel for continued great content. If you're watching on X, it's ending over there, so make sure you hit the like button, retweet it, hit the link, and come join us over on YouTube. Go for it, Joe.
Yeah, I really just think that Stephen A is trying his damnedest to sell this to the public. And let's just look at the pay-per-view buys. Let's see how many people actually buy this fight.
I don't see how this does over 100, to be honest.
This may be, and here's the problem, and I said this before, and I hate to be repetitive, because we've been fed a steady diet of bangers from Turkey Ala Sheikh, right? We've been spoiled, right? I don't think that this fight measures up even 1% of what we've been getting. So I think there's going to even be more of a backlash against this fight than there normally would be, because the bar's been raised. It's been risen. It's continuously going up now. And the public is going to be more and more critical and more resistant to these types of matchups. And then when you got Canelo's technically not an American fighter, but he's an American-based fighter. You got him on board with Turkey Ala Sheikh. David Benavidez seems like he's going to be on board with Turkey Ala Sheikh. So the more fighters that decide to go over there, and the stronger Turkey Ala Sheikh's position becomes, and the better fights he continuously and consistently puts on, the worse off it's going to be for fighters like Tank Davis, who are still part of the holdout. He's like one of the lone holdouts. And you want to talk about the face of boxing being a draw. We saw the Forbes list. He wasn't on it. Tyson Fury was on it, right? Alexander Usyk was on it.
Jake Paul was on it.
Jake Paul was on it. Anthony Joshua was on it. Canelo, as always, was on it. But who wasn't on it? Tank Davis.
Yeah, he wasn't. Let's continue. Let's get a little bit more. Let's see if we get some investigative journalism out of Stephen A. Smith. Here we go.
Knockouts. Clearly one of the top 5 fighters on the planet, if not number 1 in a lot of people's eyes.
Come on,
that's what
Stephen
we
A.
say about Tank Davis. How do you feel about you, where you are at right now in your career?
Stephen
Pound
A.
for pound.
Stop it.
I mean, I can't really say. I just gotta.
He doesn't even agree with Stephen A. Look at the body.
If you said that to Terrence Crawford, if you said that to Naoya Inoue, if you said that to Alexander Usyk, they'd probably be like, "Yeah, I'm up there. I'm at least one of them." This guy's not even defending his position as being at least in the realm of that. He can't even defend himself here. He knows he can't defend himself.
Look at the body language. He's like,
damn, how do I navigate myself through this question, man? At least Naoya Inoue or Terrence Crawford or Alexander Usyk, Dimitri Bivol, Archie Beterbiev. I'm among the best. Even if they weren't, they're not going to say I am the best. Terrence Crawford would probably say he's the best. He's a confident guy. But even those other guys who are pretty humble, they would at least say I'm among the best. This guy can't even say he's among the best. Continue this. This is hilarious.
I mean, I guess he was expecting Stephen A. to give him some softball questions. I don't think he expected Stephen A. to go to the level of being on his knees. You know what I mean? This is insane. Let's Stephen, come on, get off your knees, bro. You're a grown man. You're above this. All right, you don't have to be on your knees in front of this dude. Here we go.
I'm the type of guy that, I really don't pay attention to that because I'm still in the mix. So I just got to keep my head grounded, stay grounded and just, my whole goal was always to go out there and put on a great performance every night, so I can't really say right now because I'm still in the mix. I said, but hopefully when it's all said and done, I'll be one of them top great fighters. For sure.
How soon is it going to be before you're done? Because on several occasions, it's almost like you're alluding to, you only have but so many fights left. You're looking to walk away from the game. How close are you to that, being undefeated and unblemished with some big fights out there for you to get?
It's close, for sure. It just, I don't know. It's a little draining. A little draining. I just want to step back for a little bit and just focus on me personally. You know, I feel like I've been doing this for some time now, and I just want to give myself a break and focus on just me as a human being, me as a father, me as a son, and things like that, and that nature.
You got big fights out there. You got a guy like Ryan Garcia saying that when he gets back in the game, he wants you. You got Lomachenko, who people have been talking about should be in the ring with you. Of course, Shakur Stevenson. A lot of people have been talking about him and whether or not you're going to fight him down the road. What do you see in terms of in the ring, who you'll go up against, assuming you win Saturday night, which most people assume will happen, okay? Who do you see yourself as a big fight going up against? The marquee
Wait for
fight
it,
for you?
everybody. Wait for it.
To be honest, all them guys, you know, I would say it's not no, you know, specific name that I would say.
Aren't they calling for a fight with a guy who's a champion at 122 pounds who said that he doesn't even have plans to move up to 126? His trainer this past week brought up Naoya Inoue. I guess it's not enough to bring up guys from 130. You got to go all the way down to 122 to look for fighters. Let's continue.
That's good for me. I feel like me sharing the ring with all them guys would be big, you know. So hopefully, you know, in the future probably we get them. If not, so be it.
Last question. Knockout Saturday. Should we expect that? What you do?
Hopefully,
Okay.
for sure. Hopefully.
All the best to you, big time. Keep doing what you're doing. One of the best pound-for-pound fighters on the planet Earth, the one and only Gervonta Tank Davis. Appreciate you showing up on First Take for the first time, my man. You're always welcome.
Sir.
Thank you so much.
All the best to you, big time. All the best to you, big time. Big time. My man. All the best, big time.
So, I mean, look, it's probably going to do some numbers in terms of ticket sales at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. I mean, people do like to go out for the live fights, and he does have a name and is quite popular when it comes to people going to the events. But, you know, I've been checking the temperature of people in boxing. You know, when I really know that people are interested in the fights, it's when, you know, teachers at my school who are casual boxing fans talk about a fight with me, Joe. When students who are, you know, sports fans and generally ask me, what do I think about this fight? What do I think about that fight? No one all week has asked me about this fight. Even the kids in my gym, the kids in my amateur boxing club have not really mentioned this fight to me. They were still talking about the fight last week, this week. Not a single one was like, oh, wow, Tank Davis's fight. And like, what do you think? Who do you think is going to win, coach? Like, nobody's asked me that. So I don't know. We got a question earlier about the 100K figure, Joe. I'm going to ask you straight up. Does this fight do 100,000 pay-per-view buys?
It's got to do at least 100. You know, Rick Glacier's going to come out the day after and say it only did 61,500. So, but I would have to at least guess it's going to do at least 100. If it's got to, right? It's got to.
I don't think it's going to do 100,000.
Okay. Maybe I'm being hopeful.
David Morrell Jr. against David Benavidez didn't do 100,000.
Yeah, this is, I don't know. This is probably a worse fight, but
and you got to ask yourself: are the Tank fans, right, and the millions and millions of the Lamont Roach fans, are they going to go out and buy this pay-per-view, or are they going to show up with the credit card and enter that information? Are they going to click the buy button on Amazon Prime Video and buy this fight? I don't think that they will. I really don't. Iceman is predicting about 75. Trap Media USA saying it already broke gate records. Stop the nonsense.
Oh, Trap Media.
Okay.
Oh, Trap Media.
Okay. The Tavern says,
God bless you, Trap Media. God bless you, man.
500,000.
Okay.
Tank is the face of boxing.
Okay. God bless you guys in the chat, man.
Sean on boxing. Tank is bigger than Benavidez. Rocky Austin, it will only do 30,000. Okay. Omar Rodriguez, sad day when the pay-per-view bar for success is 100,000.
It is sad, isn't it? Isn't it?
Openda Gates, nice name, 100 to 120,000. Vitola, 121, Annapolis. He's from Maryland, so I'm guessing he thinks this is gonna do a lot of big numbers. He says fax trap. You know, they love to do big things when it comes to Tank Davis down there, down there in Maryland. Iceman is laughing at this. JC says around 80K. I don't know.
It's gonna do what it do.
Gonna do what it do down in Maryland. Okay, let's have a listen. Let's have a look. I got a little bit more here from Gervonta Tank Davis. This time it's with some better audio quality. You know, it's funny when you get better audio quality from a cell phone that on Fight Hub. Sorry, Marcos, Fight Hub. Than you do on ESPN. But here we go. Just a little bit of Tank Davis. Let's have a look. Let's have a listen. Let's go.
Hey, Gervonta, you look a little bit more calmer than the first press conference that we had. We are exchanging the words right there in that press conference. And like I said, you look way more calm than the first press conference we had in December, if I'm not mistaken.
Just, they're trying to stay, calm, do it all. You know what I mean? As we get close to the fight, it's gonna be a great night. Come Saturday night.
There was a lot of talks about retirement in the first press conference. Come a couple of weeks ago, that mindset changed, and you said, "I want to stay active this year." Is that something you still look forward for the remainder of the year to have at least, if I'm not mistaken, 3 fights?
Yeah, hopefully we'll get them 3 fights.
Do you still have a call out at the end of Saturday? Certain call out?
I'll probably hear it.
You notice that whenever somebody asks him about other fights, he starts fidgeting, Joe? I mean, I'm not a body language expert, but it's like very apparent.
Listen,
whenever people bring up other fights, he starts fidgeting.
Yeah, again, I'm not going to be disrespectful to the guy. He's a good fighter, but he just doesn't want to lose, man. No one wants to lose, but I said this before, I say it again. Some fighters are just more concerned about losing and more overly concerned about losing than others. And he's, to me, in my opinion, I think he's very risk averse. Shakur Stevenson, you can say what you want about his fighting style, how he's overly defensive, safety first, but he's not safety first in his selection of opponents. So you got to give him at least credit for that. But this guy, he seems to be risk averse in terms of choosing opponents. He should not be fighting guys that he's a minus 1,600 over at this stage of his career, especially if he wants to be considered one of the best fighters, not just in his division, but in the world.
It's funny, we got a fighter from Washington taking on a fighter from Maryland, and they're taking the fight to the Barclays Center. I had a quick question for you. Lamont Roach is from D.C., right?
Mm-hmm.
Does he walk out of the Barclays better or worse than the dictator Zelensky walked out of the Oval Office yesterday in Washington?
Probably worse, because Zelensky didn't hit the canvas. Well, maybe Zelensky, you could argue, did hit the canvas a few times yesterday, but I don't think his face is going to be. I don't think Zelensky's face was bruised up like Lamont Roach's face is going to be bruised up. And again, I'm not wishing anything bad on the guy.
What about his ego, though?
Oh no, his ego will be much higher than Zelensky's. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Okay. Is it one person or a couple?
It's looking like one now.
Okay. One round, he's going to sleep.
Is it Keyshawn?
One round, he's going to sleep.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Gervonta, you were. Question for you, Tank. So obviously, I know you don't appreciate other names getting brought up, but I gotta ask you this: instead of
somebody saying, hey, Shakur, is he going to be next? Do you think Shakur and Keyshawn should fight for the right to fight you?
So the question there was, if you couldn't hear it, was do you think Shakur and Keyshawn should fight for the right to fight you? Go for it, Joe.
This is how bad the press has gotten with the coddling, the way they frame the questions. I know you don't like when other names get brought up. That means the interviewer is afraid of the reaction he's going to get by asking the question. So he has to make the softball. He takes the softball and turns it into a Nerf ball. That's how scared he is of asking a tough question. So the softball goes from a Nerf ball, right? That's how bad these fucking guys are on the take, man. These are not fucking journalists anymore at this point. These are fucking PR people. I know you don't like being asked about other fighters. What the fuck is that all about?
This is who gets.
These are the people that get press passes, guys.
Thank you very much.
Ridiculous.
Did it what?
Do you think Shakur and Keyshawn should fight for the right to fight you?
I mean, they should. They ain't under the same. They ain't under the same coaches or none of that. They keep screaming his brother and shit out. Fuck out of here, man. They do need to fight.
How do you feel about Keyshawn being a new champ at 135?
That nigga was ass. The nigga that he fought was garbage. That nigga was straight garbage. They pit people in top right now how to do it. You know it. You know it. Top right now how to do it.
You ain't got that brother.
All right, so I gotta ask you guys, just let's examine that statement, right? He said that the N-word was trash. He was referring to obviously it's funny he called him an N-word because I use another N-word to describe Dennis Berenchik. The N-word I use is usually preceded by the word neo N-word, because that's what I think Dennis Berenchik is, a neo N-word, meaning a neo, something that rhymes with Yahtzee. You know that old game, Yahtzee? Mm-hmm. He's a neo Yahtzee, okay, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Keyshawn took him on. And by the way, that opinion is based on his own social media account and all of the stuff he's got up there. But I digress. The question is whether or not you think that Dennis Berenchik is a neo N-word / Yahtzee or not, like I do. Let's look at it. Let's look at him, because does anybody here think that Hector Luis Garcia that's an easy win for Hector Luis Garcia against Dennis Berenchik? Because I don't. Does anybody think that Santa Cruz, right, is a easy, that Dennis Berenchik is an easy win for Santa Cruz? Because I don't. On what basis is he criticizing Keyshawn's win over Dennis Berenchik when you look at his track record, especially at 135 pounds? Does anyone think that Yuriorkis Gamboa against Dennis Berenchik at 135, that's an easy win for Yuriorkis Gamboa? Because I don't. Go for it, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is crazy. I hate when these guys, these top fighters, that they hold the belt, right? And there's other champions out there. And instead of having a round robin with the champions, they want these other champions to have a round robin to fight them. And we've seen this happen several times, like, oh, well, what has this guy done? What has that guy done? And then they'll fight someone that you have to ask the same question about their opponent. What has this guy done? What has that guy done? So if you're fighting someone who's done less than the guy you're criticizing, then isn't that kind of a contradiction of your original statement, which always seems to be the case, right? No disrespect to what has Lamont Roach done that Keyshawn Davis hasn't done? Like, Keyshawn Davis is a world champion just like Lamont Roach is, right?
The guy that Keyshawn beat in Berenchik, the guy that Keyshawn beat in Lemos is better than the guys that Lamont Roach has been beating.
Yeah, and Lamont Roach just won his 130-pound title just like Keyshawn has. And Keyshawn did it in fewer fights. Again, this is not a shot at any fighter. This is just looking at facts, right? So ask yourself, honestly, what has Lamont Roach done more than what Keyshawn Davis has done in terms of accomplishments? I would argue it's more impressive what Keyshawn Davis did as opposed to what Lamont Roach did because he did it in fewer fights.
I agree. And
My opinion. I think most people would agree.
I got no reason to be caping out here for
So if you're going to fight Lamont Roach,
but yeah.
and you're going to say, what is Keyshawn Davis done? Again, he's done just as much, if not more than Lamont Roach. So by that logic, you should be fighting Keyshawn Davis.
I'm sorry. I'm reading sometimes I like reading the comments. And this one made me laugh out loud by Joey Ortiz. First of all, thank you, Joey, for tuning in. Everybody hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. If you're not used to this, this is Saturday Sucker Punch. It's a 2-part show. Hour 1 is with Joe on this channel. Hour 2 is with me on my channel. We just split it up. Hour 1, hour 2. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. And you get more great content every Sunday night because Joe goes live with the one and only Eric Lorda every Sunday night, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. late night if you're out there in the UK, like my brother here, Hamed, who I hope is started a wonderful holy month of Ramadan with all my other Muslim brothers and sisters over there across the pond. Let's continue with a little bit more Tank Davis. Here we go.
They put the, you know, Top Rank is good at putting people in front of you. They probably have a good record, but they be ass though. See who they fought. That guy that had that belt he was worse than Cambosis.
Talk about a little bit more about, you know, Barry Hunter and Calvin Ford now being in the corner. At first, fans thought it was going to be Barry Hunter being in your corner, but seeing Calvin Ford, real quick, I checked on social media and fans were happy to see him. How's it going to be, you know, come Saturday night, having both of them in your corner?
It's going to be great for me. I got 2 head coaches in the corner, so it's going to be fire to me. I'm probably the only one that could do that or ever done it in the sport, like bring 2 head coaches together. You know what I mean? So it worked out in my favor, man. You know what I mean? I'm still a student to the game, so having them 2.
That is an insane statement. Yeah, maybe the casuals will buy that, but I'll give you an elite corner. Artur Beterbiev has got Mark Ramsey and who, Joe?
John Scully.
Yeah, and he used to also have Russ Amber in the corner.
Amber, yeah.
That's 3 guys.
3 guys, yeah.
3 guys.
Uh-huh.
All top-tier elite trainers.
That's right.
And cornermen in the sport. Like, come on, like, look, again, people are going to say I'm hating, but it's like ridiculous statement after ridiculous statement here. And not just one example. I could spend the rest of the show giving more examples like that.
In my corner is like greatness.
So everything is good with Calvin because it's the first time he's not the head trainer in a while.
Yeah, for sure. Calvin, again, I said Calvin's pops. You know what I mean? He will always be around. You know what I mean? So that's pops, like I said. So he'll always be near. Without Calvin, it wouldn't be no me. You know what I mean? Because at first, when I came into the boxing world, it was more so me falling in love off of the father figure that Calvin was in the gym. It wasn't just me going to a boxing gym and saying I love to fight. You know what I mean? That's as I got older. I started thinking I started realizing that, you know what I mean, it's not really the love of the sport that I had, it was just the love I was getting from Calvin, you know what I mean, so, or the other older guys that was in the gym.
You gave Lamont Roach credit for his power and his timing, and a lot of fighters, they're not going to try to punch at the same time you punch, you know.
Yeah, I give him credit, but he been going a little too wild now, like he been talking too much. But I mean, I'm a fighter, so I see what a lot of people don't see. You feel me? And I know what I can and cannot do, and then come Saturday night.
Why is he? But most guys, they're not going to try to punch with you and time the punch, like open up.
Yeah, but Lamont not that type of fighter. Yeah, he will. He will. I think. Yeah, he will. Me thinking about it. Yeah, he will. Like punch with me. Yeah, he probably. Yeah, because he's somebody. He's like I can't even say a fighter. Like a damn. but he got good timing. Like he got good timing, and that's what people don't see. Like they would say, like, all right, he's somebody smaller or anything like that. But if you see, like, we the same size. If not, come fight night, he probably be a little bit bigger than me type shit. But I feel as though, like, when you're a fighter, you're always supposed to respect the person that's, across the ring from you. You know what I mean? And that's how I always approach the fight. I always approach, like, I respect this guy till I feel like I still respect him, but I'm saying, like, as the fight go on, I feel like once you're in there and you start figuring your guy out, then, you know what I mean, you see what he's good at and what
I'm gonna be honest, Joe. Most of the rest of it is just like that.
Sean Sattel asked him a question like, "This is going to be the one guy that tries to punch with you." That's bullshit. Like Leo Santa Cruz was punching with him when Tank landed that counter shot. Rolly was trying to punch with him when Tank landed that counter. Like a lot of dudes try to punch with Tank. So, like, again, trying to make this something, it's not, oh, well, this is going to be the first time someone punches with you. Bro, that's bullshit. That's bullshit.
I like Sean, but I didn't quite understand that.
I mean, you're trying to, like, again, trying to make the fight more competitive than what it really is. Like, you're trying to be a PR person. Don't be a PR person. Ask questions.
What was Isaac Cruz not punching with him? I mean,
yeah, like a lot of dudes stand and try to punch with him, but he beats them to the punch. So stop, like, sitting there saying, "Oh, well, this is gonna be the first guy that got." That's not true. Again, you're not a PR person. Don't make this fight better and more competitive than what it really is. Stop trying to sell the fight, Sean. Ask questions. And I like Sean too. He's a nice guy, really good guy.
Yeah.
But stop being a PR person, Sean. Stop.
No, I mean, I don't know. Maybe he's seen something that I'm not seeing, but I've seen a lot of guys trying to punch with Tank, and they're usually shorter, smaller. Not necessarily shorter than Tank, but they're smaller guys being brought up to fight him. They're usually short guys, with the exception of Mario Barrios. But I got one more person I'd like you to watch, guys. Everybody in the chat. It's someone who's not promoting the fight. It's someone who's actually, I think, promoting a fight in the UK today. It's none other than Eddie Hearn, chairman of Matchroom Sport. Let's have a look. Let's have a listen to what Eddie has to say about this fight. Here we go.
Back in action. Watched a scrum we done for 45 minutes actually, but he talked about the Shakur fight, and there does seem to be that reluctance, doesn't want to give it too much oxygen, doesn't seem particularly keen on the fight.
I don't know why. Like, that's the best fight in boxing, one of the best fights. Who else is there for Tank to fight? I don't know. He's talking weird a little bit. Like, I don't know whether his love's gone. He may get beat tonight.
You think so?
I don't think he will, but he may get beat tonight. If he wins by stoppage, he'll be behind when he's winning by stoppage, as he normally is. And that's why I believe Shakur will beat him, because Shakur will win rounds against Tank, and I'm not sure Tank will be able to get hold of him. So I don't know the reluctance to talk about that fight or make the fight. It's a unification fight, two brilliant undefeated American fighters, one of the biggest fights in the sport, and you say, no, why would I fight Shakur? What do you mean, why would you fight Shakur? He's the best fighter in the world, I think. See.
Shakur's always been very respectful about Tank and saying, but that sort of changed, I've noticed, in the past couple of weeks. He seems to be getting a bit fed up.
That's because he doesn't want to give Tank an excuse not to take the fight. So he's giving him the credit. He's saying he's the A-side. You know, we'll take less money than you're going to. Shakur just wants the opportunity. Shakur's a 3-division world champion at 27, never broken sweat. And he just wants to fight the best in the sport. So you can't knock it.
Johnny Fisher, Dave Allen rematch done? That's what people are saying?
Not done, but very close. Johnny will be there tonight, so he's instructed me to make the fight.
Well, they're talking about the Romford Bull there, Johnny Fisher. But yeah, there has been a reluctance to really talk about making a Shakur fight, showing any enthusiasm for a Shakur fight. I mean, when you look at the lightweight division in the United States, the two names are essentially Shakur and Tank. I mean, Keyshawn's entered the division, but, you know, go for it, Joe. I see you wanting to chime in.
Normally, I wouldn't say this, but they need to, Turki Al-Sheikh needs to put it out there. Like, this is what we want this fight so bad. This is what we're offering this guy, and almost shame him into taking the fight. Because if they throw a number out there and he still turns the fight down, then you could say that he just doesn't want the fight. Because like if the turkey says, "Oh, well, okay, we'll give you a $20 million," say he goes, "Okay, fuck it, we'll give you a $25 million guarantee to fight Shakur Stevenson," and he still says no, then that's gonna be a horrible look. Then it's like, the guy really doesn't want to fight. If he's gonna turn down like something like $25 million guarantee, like I know that's not the way things normally are done and should be done. You don't want to put numbers out there, but in this case, in order to get this guy to fight, maybe you have to do something like that. Maybe you have to let the public know that this is what you're dealing with here. This guy. We're doing everything in our power to try to put this fight together. This is the money that's on the table for this fight for this guy, and he still said no. You almost, at this point, I hate to say it, you almost have to shame him into taking the fight. You almost have to do that.
People have tried to nudge him in that direction. I'm going to show a very infamous exchange between him and Gilly the Kid, Philly hip-hop legend, and a co-host of $1 Million Worth of Game. Let's have a look and let's have a listen to what he said in this exchange. Here we go.
The fans be feeling like you not getting the best fights you supposed to. Mm-hmm. But we know Tank can fight anybody. Mm-hmm. Why is that? For me, we want to see you fight Lomachenko. Mm-hmm. We want to see you fight Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez, motherfucking all the top who they say is the 4 horsemen, and they anywhere around your weight class. We want to see it happen. When we gonna see it happen?
I'm not sure. I don't.
That was real shit. That's some real shit.
I can't. I don't know. That's like
that was real
shit. How many times you don't went in there and said, "I want these niggas, man"?
To be honest, I ain't never said it.
I mean, Gilly was trying to help him there, but I mean, he couldn't get it over the line there, Joe. He really couldn't get it over the line.
And then when Tank said, "I really don't know," what did Gilly say after that? "Oh, that's some real shit. That's real shit." You're inspired by like that. That gets your juices flowing when you hear, "I really don't know." I mean, again, these people, man, they gotta stop being fucking PR people. It's embarrassing, bro. It's God.
According to Trap Media, you can't pay Usyk $100 million and pay Tank $20 million. And Devin Haney put the $20 million out there that Turkey was putting up. Doesn't matter to Tank because he can make that himself.
No, we can't.
Usyk is nowhere as big as Tank. Usyk is the heavyweight champion of the world. Tank Davis is a lightweight.
Well,
heavyweight, lightweight. Heavyweight, lightweight.
Usyk didn't make $100 million in one fight. So that's two fights, first of all. Second of all, we got the receipts. Tank was not on the Forbes list. Usyk, Fury, Joshua, Canelo, Jake Paul were. You can't be running this fucking face of boxing shit anymore now that we got the receipts. It's out there. It's out there.
We definitely have the receipts, guys. And the other thing too is, I mean, I don't know. I mean, comparing the purses of a guy who really never won a title from another champion at 135 pounds to the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world.
We have the list.
Is he making $20 million for this fight?
We have the Forbes list.
I don't think he is.
We have the Forbes list. That's it. He's not on it. Jake Paul, who people say isn't even a real fighter, made more money than him.
Yeah. And there you go. Look, I don't know what else can be said. If you guys are buying the pay-per-view, do me a favor, just screenshot yourselves or purchasing it on Amazon Prime tonight and tweet at me at Maestro Amilcar. The link is right there. Prove me wrong. Put it out on your IG. Tag me at Maestro Amilcar. Put it there, right? Purchase the pay-per-view and tag me on it. and I will publicly apologize to all of the people that are calling me a hater. Do it. Post it. Go for it.
I would love, and I don't even know, because I'm talking shit right now. I don't even know if I would have the balls to ask this question live, right?
Yeah.
But imagine if someone asked him, Tank, a lot of people say you're the face of boxing, but the Forbes list just came out. How come you weren't on it? He'd probably try to punch me in the face if I asked him that question.
Nah, they just put
what would he say?
They just
how would you answer that question?
They just put you on a blacklist, and you wouldn't.
Oh, you wouldn't be back. You asked that question, you wouldn't be back.
You wouldn't be back.
You wouldn't be back.
You wouldn't be back.
You wouldn't even be back.
Hour 2, come over and join us. Link is in the chat. It's also in the description box of this video. Hour number 2 is about to start now. But before you leave, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Consider joining a membership. This is one of the greatest channels out there doing boxing YouTube stuff. So do that as well, and we'll see you on the next one, guys. Right now, in like 30 seconds, hit the link. We'll see you guys later. Take care.